everybody, thank you for subscribing for our channel, and today we are going to be in Andorra and in one castle in Spain with the ghost. Of course, there is supposed to be a ghost. And we are fast people. We want to see as many places as possible, and we don't like to waste time. When we left Carcassonne, we decided, why don't we go to Andorra before we go to Spain? And we did it. We changed our direction, and from Carcassonne we went to Andorra.
We were lucky during our trip to have a chance to actually visit the nation of Andorra. Most Americans have probably never heard of Andorra, and there's a reason for that. It's extremely tiny, it's located in the middle of nowhere, and it is really not of very much significance at all. Andorra is one of those extremely tiny countries, most of them are in Europe, who for odd historical reasons have survived to the present day as very, very tiny countries. We're in Andorra la Vella. The sun is in my eyes and very bright, so I'm squinting. But if you look behind us, you'll see in front of the government building these weird statues of people sitting up on poles. We have no idea what that's about. That's all. But it's a pretty little place. Nothing to do whatsoever. They say that people come here when there's no snow. They come here when there's snow for skiing, but when there's no snow, they come here to hike and to go to the hot springs. And since I can't hike because of my feet, and we're not interested in the hot springs, and there's no snow, there's nothing for us here. But it's a pretty little place. We're glad we came.
What are they doing there?
I don't know. I think it appears that some of them are looking at France and some of them are looking at Spain. So I don't know what
different directions.
They're looking in different directions.
It is very easy to travel to Europe because from one country to another country you can drive, you can take train, or you can walk. There is no border, so it is very, very easy. What you saw, there was a bus that goes from Andorra to Portugal. Just jump in and go. And do you remember Ben told you about these little statues? They are very strange. We couldn't figure out what it is. One statue looking at one direction, another to different. We don't know what it is for. But Andorra, like you understood already, a very nice little place.
Inside the tiny nation of Andorra itself, land is so vertical and so difficult to build on that any land that, even if it's steep, if it's remotely suitable for some kind of building, you can bet that there's construction on it, and it's probably extremely expensive as well.
Yes, by the way, construction is everywhere. And more I want to tell you, because they have limited land. Parking structures are so tiny. When we went into the hotel and tried to park in the, I think it was somewhere down parking structure, Ben is a good driver and he parks very well by himself, but here he couldn't park by himself. He needed my direction. Otherwise, and we had a very small car. Without a direction, without another person, you can't park. I regretted that I did not recorded the video of his parking. It was funny.
Of course, everywhere in the world there's a Hard Rock Cafe, and Andorra la Vella in Andorra, in the midst of the Pyrenees Mountains, is no exception. There's a Hard Rock Cafe there as well. Zena and I went in and we looked around at their displays, and I think we might have even bought something. People go to Andorra really for two main reasons: shopping and skiing. Because it is an independent country, it does not have taxes like the rest of Europe, and so you can buy very cheap goods there. So people go there to shop. As a result, it's a very crowded, very rich, very elegant, and very ritzy resort town, city, country high in the Pyrenees Mountains.
Of course, many people who travels are looking for some souvenirs from the country, from the city, town you visit. And we were looking for any souvenirs, maybe t-shirts with letters Andorra. And actually we have a tradition to bring the Christmas tree ornament for our Christmas tree from places where we visit. And here we tried to find the souvenir store. Believe me, it was very, very difficult, almost impossible. There are many fancy shops, many malls with fancy stuff, with expensive stuff, but not too many souvenirs. And you see, there is a little store, I show you right now, little store souvenirs. We found only this little doll for our Christmas tree. We made it look like it is a Christmas tree ornament, but at least we found something.
I particularly enjoyed Andorra very much. The grocery stores and shops were fascinating. They were full of high quality goods, and although it wasn't a weekend and the streets were kind of quiet and it was the low season while we were there, it was still a very interesting place to just get out and walk around. Hard to get to, but a nice little place to visit. What are we doing?
We are making our video with
With the Andorra sign behind us over the river. You can see there on the bridge it says Andorra la Vella, which is where we are, in the middle of this tiny little country between France and Spain.
here we are.
Where we are.
Okay, see you.
Goodbye. After leaving Andorra, we were headed for the town of Cardona, Spain, where we had a reservation in a very interesting place for the next evening. Leaving Andorra on the way to Cardona takes you through some very mountainous and isolated Spanish terrain. Not a lot of people seem to live in that area. There are a few picturesque towns, and it was an enjoyable trip, but the roads are curvy and the going was slow.
We passed a few little towns, nice towns, from our way to Cardona from Andorra. All of them look similar, like this, for example. By the way, we couldn't even find out the name of this town. What do you think about this town?
It's a beautiful little Spanish town up in the Spanish mountains,
Uh-huh.
not too far from the Pyrenees. It's really a lovely little place.
What is the name of it?
Well, the name of the area around the town is Cardona. I don't know what exactly the name of this town is, but
When Ben and I decided that in Spain we will spend one night in the castle, I looked at pictures, but I couldn't imagine actually that it looks, in reality, it looks completely different. You see this beautiful view. We saw it right before going into the town. Cardona is a very interesting town. You see narrow streets, like in almost in all cities, old towns in Spain, in France, in Europe. But you can see that it is old town. We were really excited to see our hotel. I have never spent nights in castles before, and in my imagination I thought it will be some rough looking place. No, we will see what it looks like.
When we arrived in Cardona, we found that we were in for a real treat. Cardona is the location of one of many different paradors which are located throughout Spain. These paradors are hotels basically operated in really unusual and historic places. You'll find them in great large buildings along the beach. You'll find them in mountain castles and so forth. And this particular one in Cardona happened to be in an old castle, a place which had been inhabited and defended for centuries, many centuries, because of the presence of a large deposit of salt there. We were lucky to stay in a Paradors, which is actually a hotel within this medieval castle, and as you can see, it was quite a spectacular place.
We were very pleased with our room. And the view of the town Cardona was really beautiful. You can see right now the remaining of the salt mountain. Look how it looked many years ago. 40 million years ago, nature created a mountain of salt in the area where Cardona now stands. The town became a great commercial and political center because of its wealth generated by the excavation and marketing salt to Europe. And by the way, the locals would be given salt every Thursday in exchange for working one day a week to build the castle. They called salt as white gold. after we settled down, I decided to go to the town and to see what it looks like. Actually, it is a quite distance to go from the top of the castle to down, but I am glad that I went. The town looks empty, and there was some celebration this evening. I don't remember what exactly, but you see, the town is prepared for this celebration. They put up the stage, and in the evening we heard music. You see this stage. In the evening we heard the music, and of course the view of the castle is great, and there is our room. And you know, when we checked in, they warned us that there is a ghost in one of the rooms. They said, we are not going to tell you which room, we don't want you to be scared. And maybe it was in my mind, I don't know, but at night I felt that something is pressing my shoulders into the bed. I was scared, I screamed, and Ben woke me up. And but next morning we were told that actually the ghost was in the different room. We were in the room 709 and the ghost was in the room 712. So, but maybe the ghost visited us, I don't know, or it was maybe just my imagination. It is a puzzle.
Well, a castle wouldn't last very long in a siege against an enemy army if it didn't have a well, a source for water, while they were under siege. So we saw the well at this particular castle. It's pretty small, but of course if it doesn't run dry, it could supply a lot of people. And the well happened to be right under what were the Duke's quarters, the noble of the castle.
Staying in the Parador at the castle in Cardona was really an interesting experience. Our bedroom was great. It was a really good castle, and we had dinner that evening in a area of the castle which was once a library.
But when we came to the restaurant, it was still closed, and we were waiting for it to be opened in the adjacent room. While Ben were looking at the menu, we discovered that actually we are in the very strange room. Look at it. This room was used like a torture chamber. I was a little bit shocked, and to look at the room, very thick walls, and it seems like it is scary actually. And you can imagine that you can't escape from this room. People who were captured and tortured here, of course, their end was not really great. And something else we learned in this castle. Orson Welles in 1964 made his movie here, Shammai at Midnight. I think I pronounced it correctly. And I will show you one episode from this movie. It was right here in this room.
For I do see danger and disobedience in thine eye.
My lord.
Henceforth let me not hear you speak of Mortimer, or you shall hear in such a kind from me as will displease you.
My good lord, hear me.
My lord Northumberland, we license your departure with your son.
We were glad that we chose this place, no, because it is nice to see interesting places and learn something new. And look at the sky, it is just beautiful. And next time don't miss our video. We will tell you about our sailing experience in BVI, British Virgin Island. Don't forget to subscribe so you will be with us next time. We will see you in 1 week.